Hey there, lunatics. Today we are building a void caveling farm. Now, this farm was a bit of a challenge for me to put together, and I had three major complications that had to be solved. Complication number one, the mushroom buildup slows down the spawn. I tried several things to fix this, but robot arms don't grab the mushrooms until they break, and while the spike traps will break the mushrooms most of the time, they will also aggro the void cavelings. Drills would break the mushrooms, but we ran into other problems that I'll get into later. Ultimately, I fixed this complication by placing drombles into the farm. They are immune to radiation damage, plus the mobs don't aggro on them. They eat the mushrooms and keep the farm clean. Complication 2. The mobs are super aggressive. The void cavelings have an explosive attack that can break walls, break objects, kill cattle. I've tried turrets, but all turrets found or crafted cause the void cavelings to aggro. I tried spike traps, as sometimes the found traps, like poison ones, don't aggro the mobs, but all spike traps aggro the void cavelings. While drills do seem to not aggro the mobs, the big problem is the drills do even less damage than my solution ended up being, and the drills clog up the spawn area in order to be effective. So they just don't work. To fix this issue, I ended up using radiation crystals. The main drawback for this is that the damage is very slow, since these mobs have a lot of hit points. To compensate, the entire farm is a kill zone to ensure that the mobs can never avoid damage. And I place a few poison ground slimes down to prevent healing. Now, if you also decide that you're going to put poison ground slime down, make sure you use it sparingly. You can't have more than 5 poison tiles per spawn cell, or it will spawn poison slimes, which will aggro the void cavelings and break the farm. Now, in early test designs, I also included a conveyor belt system to cycle mobs up and down the farm to prevent them from bunching up in any one area. And after testing it without the conveyors, honestly, I found that the conveyors really didn't add much to the farm, so I opted not to use them in my final design. But if a conveyor system is something that you're interested in, go for it. Complication 3. The cocoons build up and slow down spawn. The cocoons need to be burst periodically for the larvae inside, and then they need to have their husks broken. Or the cocoons themselves just need to be broken. The point is, cocoons don't count as mobs, they count as objects. And so they don't take damage from the radiation crystals or from spike traps. And we can't use turrets for aggro reasons. My solution to this one, unfortunately, isn't automated. Using either a rune song or a crystal shard club, you can use the secondary ability to destroy cocoons from the outside of the farm. By standing on the outside of the farm wall, I can fire off the secondary blast and break the cocoon inside the farm. Be careful not to hit a void caveling. If you do, they will aggro. The larvae are safe to hit, though. Now, let's go over how to actually build this thing. Now, taking a look at the map tool here, and if you're on PC, you can also use this map tool. I'll put a link in the description for it. Now, if you're on console, unfortunately, you can't use the map tool, as you need to be able to access certain files, which are PC only. But you can see here that what I'm doing is I'm trying to get myself into as many spawn cells as I can, and this farm is not very wide. So what it is, however, is it's going to be 10 long, and it's going to be in between 2 spawn cells. That's giving me a total of 20 spawn cells that I'm going to be using. Now, for those of you on console, to make your lives a little bit easier here, this tile that I'm currently standing in at -49, 159 is the lower left-hand side of the mob farm area that I'm going to be building in. So if you count off in squares of 16, just go 16 to the right and then another 16 to the right, and you will have your mapping for your spawn cells. Just to give you another visual representation, this light gray tile where my top arrow is pointing is the lower left-hand corner of the spawn cell that we'll be using. So again, you just go 16 to the right and then go over, and then it's another 16 tiles. And it's every 16 tiles, you're going to have a new spawn tile. So from this lower left-hand corner, where we're at the edge of the spawn cells, I'm going to go right. I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on my 5th one, just start digging a little bit of a vertical line here, like we're creating this little moat. And then you're going to go down 1, 2, and then start heading over to the right. And you're going to go to your right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then you're going to skip 2 tiles, and then you're going to start digging again and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tiles over, and then just start digging up. Doesn't matter how far up you go. We're just kind of creating an outline of what our farm's going to look like. So for this mob farm design, you are going to need a whole bunch of muddled moss. Now, for the size I'm making it, I'm going to need 1,280 muddled moss. If you're making this in fewer spawn cells, now you don't have to make it in the 20 spawn cells that I'm making mine in. You can do it in 4 spawn cells. You could do it in 8 spawn cells. If you don't have this much material, just make it smaller and grow it over time as you gain more material. But for my size, which is going to be a 20 spawn cell size, 10 on each side, 2 wide, I need 1,280 muddled moss, 158 radiation crystals, 153 electrical wire, 4 powered generators, I'm using the lowered ones, 156 conveyor belts, 64 item collectors, a robot arm, a double chest, and just under 1,000 walls. I'm using industrial blocks because they are the strongest wall in the game, and these guys rip through walls like it's nobody's business. So having a strong wall really, really helps. You're also going to need a whole bunch of drombles. You need at least 4. No matter how big your farm is, you need at least 4. I'm going to have 10. I'm putting 5 on each side, and you'll see what that looks like in a second. In addition to all of these items, you are also going to need a full hazmat suit to give yourself immunity to radioactive damage, as you're going to be placing down a whole bunch of radiation crystals, and you don't want to be taking 80 points of damage every couple of seconds. So from our little 2 squares here at the bottom, I'm going to place 1 wall right above the gap here on the right-hand side. Then I'm going to go 3 tiles to the left. And on the 4th tile, I'm going to place another wall. Then I'm just going to go ahead and fill the line in all the way over on both sides. And we'll go ahead and fill the line up as well. And you're just going to continue up your line until you reach however many spawn cells you are filling up. Like I said, for me, I'm filling up 20 spawn cells. So I'm going up a long, long ways. Up here at the top, I dug out another little moat area just around the edge of my 2 spawn cells, just so that I know where the end of everything is. And so at this point, I then just start heading to the right until I reach the end here, and then start coming down, and I will connect with the walls that I've started on the other side. Make sure you also give yourself some room on the opposite side of the wall so that you can move up and down from the outside of your farm, as this will become important later. Overall, this farm should be 17 tiles wide, with tiles 18 and tiles 19 being the wall tiles. Then down back at the bottom here, right where you've got your wall edges, you're going to go up on both sides and leave at least 1 gap so that you can move around on the inside while you're still working on the farm. But otherwise, we're going to completely fill in both sides here to create a little corridor in the middle. The side areas here, both on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, should have a gap of 6 tiles in between the walls. Next, in the lower left-hand corner, you are going to place down 4 blocks into a little square. Do the same thing on the right-hand side. And then you're going to skip 2 blocks and you're going to go out 1, go up 1, out 1, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1, skip 1, place 1. And keep doing this all the way up. And you're also going to eventually make it 2 wide as well. Going all the way up. And you're going to do this on both sides. Now, technically, you could skip this part and just put extra radiation crystals down, but the extra radiation crystals don't give you any extra damage. And what we're doing here is we're essentially building little cubbies that our radiation crystals are going to sit in. But if you don't want to spend the time putting in these little, like, nice little cubbies, they're purely decorative. You could theoretically just go straight crystals all the way down. What you don't want to do are leave gaps in between any of the crystals, because then the enemies could hide in there and the loot will kind of get stuck. Really, the option becomes, what do you prefer? Do you find walls to be cheaper, or do you find the radiation crystals to be cheaper to place down a whole bunch of them? I personally think that the walls are less of a resource gathering problem than all of the extra radiation crystals, especially as you make the farm bigger and bigger. But again, I leave that decision up to you and your preferences. Now, when you reach the top, you'll just put 2 at the very top here so that you're not creating any little special gap, and just continue to fill in as normal. And just like the right side, when you get to the top of the left side, just place 2 at the very top left corner and continue to fill in until you've got all of your cubbies completed. All right, next we are going to build the conveyor system. So I have 3 walls left, and that's 1, 2, and then my last one I'm just going to put right here. And starting from the bottom wall here, we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and place this down. So that should give you 2 tiles that are inside the farm. And then you're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles total. And you're going to place down another one. There should be a distance of 4 tiles in between your 2 item collectors. Repeat this process going down the entire farm until you have placed down all of your item collectors. Once you reach the top, just flip the item collectors so that they're facing the opposite direction and place them directly opposite of where the previous item collectors were. So electricity in this game has a 24 tile length in which it will power something. Keeping that in mind, we're going to place our first electrical tile here, because we are going to have our robot arm go right below that. You're going to have your robot arm facing up. Now we have to remember that this robot arm does count as a tile distance. We've got a distance of 1, 2, 3. So at this point, I'm 23 tiles total in distance when it comes to my electrical wire. So if I put down my power generator here, it should just barely, yes, it does. The light's barely on, but it is on, and it is powering this robot arm, as well as all of the item collectors. Then we're going to go up another 23, and then we're going to go up another 23, even though we are going past what we're supposed to here. We're going to be placing down another generator at its edge of its line as well. And then I place down another generator, and let's double check that everything's properly powered. And it is, even though the power is a lot lower at this junction point right here, it is enough to power both item collectors. So just repeat the process until you complete your entire farm, placing down all of your electrical wire and connecting it with your power generators. I guess, and I recommend the lowered power generators just because you'll be able to place conveyor belts on top of them. Once you're done, you should have all of your lowered power generators and your wires coming right down the middle, powering all of your item collectors. And then you're just going to take your conveyor belt and starting at the top item collectors facing down, you're just going to place the conveyor belts going straight down in a line, right in between everything. When you reach the bottom, be sure to stop right at the bottom 2 item collectors before the final tile here, as you want all of your items to essentially pile up right where I'm currently standing so that the robot arm can grab them and move them into the double chest that we're going to end up placing down here right at the very end. Moving inside the spawn areas now, you're going to make sure that you have your hazmat suit equipped, and you're going to grab your radiation crystals, and you're just going to start placing them down in each one of the cubbies, going down the entire length of the farm on both sides. Next, we're going to actually place down all of our drombles. And like I said, you're going to need at least 4, which means you'll be putting 2 on each side. It depends on how big you're making your farm. I am putting 5 on each side, and you're going to want to leave breeding on because you want them to procreate and you want them to multiply. At this point, you're going to be putting down your spawn tiles. So they're going to be 4 wide, just extending down the entire length of your farm. If you're on PC, I highly recommend a mod called Placement Plus, which allows you to change the placement size of your spawn tiles, allowing you to place down entire chunks at a time, which saves a whole lot of time. Unfortunately, console players can't take advantage of this, and you basically just have to move as quickly as you can and try to avoid getting into combat. If you do end up having to deal with spawn while you're still putting down all of your tiles, then I recommend using ranged attacks as much as possible, and be prepared for having to do a little bit of rebuilding and repair, because if you end up spawning a shaman or a brute, they will do damage to the farm before you kill them. So you're going to have to repair things a little bit. And finally, you can just start placing down your ground poison slime tiles. Just as a reminder, you want to make sure that you are placing down no more than 5 of these in every spawn cell. That is no more than 5 poison ground slime tiles within every 16 tiles. Otherwise, you will cause spawn and you will break your farm. Once you have completely filled up the spawn tiles inside your spawn area, just leave that spawn area and seal off the farm. Then repeat the process on the opposite side. When all is said and done, this is what your farm should look like. What will happen is all of the cavelings and the void creatures will spawn within the 4 tile width spawn area, where they will be killed very, very slowly by the radiation crystals, a little bit faster if they're unable to heal because of the poison tiles that are down. Their loot will be picked up by the item collectors and placed on the central conveyor belt, which will lead them all the way down to the bottom. The dromdals inside will eat all of the mushrooms and will help to maintain the general ecosystem of the farm so that it doesn't get bogged down in mushrooms. And then in the end, everything comes down to this one robot arm and gets placed into this chest that we place here at the bottom. And that is it. Your farm is now complete. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this farm to run for a few hours, and then we will come back and check on it and see what kind of loot that we've got. Okay, it's been about 4 hours or so. Let's go ahead and see what we've got in the farm. All right, we've got 33 corrupted alloy. We've got some wood. Got a few items here, which we can scrap and break down into more corrupted alloy. 21 void fragments and some oil grenades, and of course, a whole bunch of blasting dung from those camels we got. Overall, I'd say this is not too bad. It's not the absolute best. It's not the fastest. And if we go through the farm here, you can clearly see that there's still a whole bunch of enemies who aren't dead yet. So hopefully they'll all die soon and we can collect all of their loot. Sorry, I know this video was a bit of a long one, but there you have it, guys. This is how I made my Void Caveling mob farm. If you guys have any questions or comments, please be sure to leave them below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you really want to support the channel, there are a variety of ways to do so, and they are all in the details in the description below. You can go get a membership. We have various membership types that you can get, as well as merchandise and other fun ways to support the channel. Thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay crazy, everybody.